Hey everyone, welcome back to the 2 Cents Cafe, where we dive into the darkest corners of true crime cases. I'm Ava, and today's case is one that's not just heartbreaking, but downright infuriating. Before we get into it, I want to give a heads up. This episode involves the mistreatment of minors, and while I'll avoid graphic details, the subject matter is disturbing, so please take care while listening. This is still an open case, which means there's an ongoing investigation, and I want to be clear, do not harass or contact anybody involved in today's case, and please be respectful to one another in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. Detroit, Michigan, a city with a rich history, a strong community, also a place where dark stories unfold. And this one is still unraveling. It's the story of a bright, fun-loving 13-year-old girl named Neziah Harris. A girl who should have had a lifetime ahead of her. Instead, she vanished. And what's come to light since her disappearance is something out of a nightmare. Neziah was living on Detroit's east side with her grandmother and legal guardian, Annette Harris, also alongside her maternal Aunt Shannon, and a house full of kids. To the outside world, she was a typical teenager, posting on social media, making dance videos, and hanging out with friends. But behind closed doors, things weren't so picture perfect. Annette had adopted Neziah and her brother to keep them from going into the system. Their mother struggled with addiction and mental health issues, and their father, well, he wasn't really in the picture either. He did help in the search efforts, but passed away from health complications soon after Neziah went missing. It was like this little girl had the odds stacked against her from the very start. Now, here's where things get concerning. There were rumors, whispers about food being locked up in the house, about child services being called multiple times. Even Neziah's older brother had run away, choosing to live with friends instead of staying in that house. But Neziah, she didn't get that chance. So, what happened to her? Let's go back to January 9th, 2024, the last day anyone saw Neziah alive. That morning, everything seemed normal. She got up, got dressed, prayed with her family, and went to school. But something was off. Teachers noticed that she wasn't acting like herself. Even one teacher found her curled up on the floor in class. Concerned, they tried to get the school counselor involved, but the counselor wasn't there that day, so Neziah just went about her day as normal. She left school at the usual time, got on the bus, and around 2:54 p.m., surveillance footage caught her stepping off the bus at her stop. She was seen walking north on Bedford Street towards Warren Avenue, and then nothing. There's conflicting information about whether she had made it home first, but what we do know is that Neziah had a routine. She always went home right after school, and since her phone and tablet only worked on Wi-Fi, unfortunately there was no way to track her location. So the question is, where did she go, and who took her there? By the morning of January 10th, Annette reported Neziah missing. The school police started searching right away, but by February 14th, the case was handed over to Detroit Metro Police Department. As time passed, investigators started to shift their focus from a missing person case to a homicide. And the reason? They uncovered something chilling. Explicit text messages. 2 years worth of them, between a 13-year-old Neziah Harris and a 42-year-old man named Jarvis Butts. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who the hell is this guy? Well, hold on to your seats because this is where things get even more disturbing. Jarvis wasn't just some stranger. He was the father of Shannon's 5 kids. That means he had direct access to Neziah. He was in that house. He was around her. And these messages, they painted a picture of manipulation, grooming, and exploitation. On February 15th, police brought Jarvis in for questioning. He claimed he hadn't seen Neziah in weeks, but then things started surfacing. Evidence. Physical, blood-soaked evidence. First, Neziah's school ID was found by a Detroit resident near her bus stop. Blood-stained clothing discovered in an abandoned parking lot. And then came the biggest break. Forensic testing confirmed the DNA on those clothes belonged to both Neziah and Jarvis. So, what really happened to Neziah Harris? And did Jarvis act alone? Testimony after testimony began poking holes in his story. Witnesses placed Neziah in Jarvis's car. One even saw her getting in and out of his SUV at his auto shop. Phone records placed him near the exact location where her clothes were found. And then, there was his internet search history. Days before her disappearance, Jarvis was looking up at-home abortion methods, including an antifreeze and Gatorade drink mix. Yeah, let that sink in. Now, we don't have her body, but based on overwhelming evidence, police believe that Neziah was pregnant, and that was Jarvis's motive. This monster spent years grooming her, and when the consequences of his actions became too real, he did the unthinkable. And here's the kicker. There's reason to believe he did not act alone in this. There is so much more to unpack in this case, so many unanswered questions. Why did Annette and Shannon wait so long to report Neziah missing? Why did their stories about that night not add up? And could they have known, maybe even helped Jarvis cover this up? What we do know is this. Jarvis Butts has been charged with first-degree murder, among other horrific crimes. But his trial is set for October 6, 2025, and until then, the fight for justice continues. Neziah's fight continues. She was just a child, a sweet 13-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her, and she deserves to be found. She deserves justice. I'll be following this case closely, and I'll update you as more details unfold, but for now, let's keep Neziah's name alive. Let's keep pushing for answers. And let's hope that one day, Neziah can finally rest in peace. That's it for today's episode here at the 2 Cents Cafe. If you have thoughts on this case, let me know in the comments below. If you want the deep dive into Neziah's case, keep an eye out over at the 2 Cents Cafe podcast YouTube. I'm Ava Bauman. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, evil thrives in silence. Never stop speaking up.